Welcome to B&G Productions. We specialize in literature biographies. This production is on Frank McCourt.
Frank McCourt was born in Brooklyn, New York on August 19, 1930 to Irish immigrant parents. He then returned to Limerick, Ireland.
McCourt's family lived in poverty. His father was an alcoholic. He was often without work, and when he had a job, he would drink the wages. Frank's mother had 7 children. 3 of them died from disease. Frank said in his interview that his mother had too many babies in too short of time. His father had a bionic sense of humor and was a good storyteller. Frank got typhoid at age 10 because of the laboratory they shared. He was in the hospital from June to the middle of October. The first novel he read was a book his mother brought home, Tom Brown's School Days. He often wrote detective novels and little playlets for his brothers to act.
Frank went to Leamy's National School, a government school. He had a harsh kind of schooling where the teachers ruled with a stick. His family couldn't afford to go to secondary school, so he left school at age 13 in the 8th grade. It was mandatory to go to school until you were 14. The last teacher he had was O'Halloran, who told the students that they were distinct, unique individuals with the right to think for themselves. He told Frank he was a literary genius. When the teachers asked him to write a 150-word essay, Frank would write a 500-word essay. There were an overwhelming presence of the church to everyone needed.
To write about a single thing, an object in our childhood. And the object that meant most to me, or that was so significant, was the bed I slept in with my brothers, all 4 of us. This half-acre of a bed with a disaster of a mattress which collapsed in the middle. Everybody peed in the bed, so the spring was gone, and we tried to keep it together with bits of string, but after a while the acid from our bodies rotted the string. We'd get into it and we roll into the middle, the 4 of us, and fight, get on my way. Now, meanwhile, the fleas were feasting on us, and if you had to go to the John, you went to a bucket and so on, came back, and we were up. We'd light a candle to get at them, and we'd hold the candle, and we'd go at slapping at each other's legs and bodies, killing the fleas. That was probably the most concrete image I brought away from my childhood, and I wrote about that. And the professor gave me an A+. I said, Jesus, this is very strange. And then he says, please read this to the class. I said, no. Would you please read? I said, no, I'd be ashamed. And he read it. He said, do you mind if I read it? So he read it to the class. And I think they sensed that I was the one who wrote it. And good-looking girls started looking at me in an interested way. I thought they'd be disgusted, but I found myself being stopped leaving the class. I thought, Richie, is that how you grew up? And I seemed to suddenly become a kind of an exotic in the class.
After school, Frank worked odd jobs and petty crimes to feed his mother and his 3 brothers. His first job was at the post office, delivering telegrams. To be the temporary telegram boy, you had to take a test and then had to go to school to be the permanent telegram boy. Then later, you could become a postman or a clerk. He delivered telegrams for 2 years.
At age 19, Frank came back to America and worked odd jobs until he was drafted into the U.S. Army at the onset of the Korean War. He spent the war stationed in Germany. He then pursued a college education on the GI Bill at New York University. He went to work for the New York City public school system, where he taught creative writing for 27 years. He spent the summers working on his novel. He retired teaching at age 66. Angela's Ashes was created and sold 4 million copies, published 27 countries, translated into 17 languages. It won the National Book Circle Award, Los Angeles Times Book Award, Ivy Award, Pulitzer Prize for biography. His second book was Sis, and his third book was Teaching Me.
Frank McCourt died in New York City at age 78 on July 19, 2009.